This is a good point, unless you had something else.
No, go ahead.
The one thing that I think Bryce might hit later on, but it's important for me to mention to everybody because it was important. It's an obligation. It's something we're taking very serious. We're focused on that this entire project will be a LEED certified project. As we go through this process, what we are that we want to understand about where we have the opportunities, and we will look further into it as we get further down in our development here of, what is it, what level of certified LEED it is. And as we go down this process, I'll keep everybody apprised, but it is clearly our interest and priority to do that. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, and we really didn't get into other utilities, but there are existing water and sewer utilities on the site that we believe have the capacity to accommodate the proposed development. The storm drainage systems that are in place, we intend to utilize once the water is filtered and managed through the ESD process. It'll be carried off in its normal route that it is today. We don't anticipate significant changes to the grade and the terrain, so the kind of lay of the land, if you will be very typical to what you see today. And with that, I'll pass the time to Wes Guckert.
Good evening. Very quickly, my name is Wes Guckert. I'm president of the Traffic Group. We're a firm of traffic engineers and transportation planners. What we're going to be asked to do when we get to that point in time is to undertake a traffic study to determine what impact this project, or the redevelopment of this project, will end up having on the nearby local roadways and intersections. And what we have found so far is I think, important and very significant. And that is that the way this project is currently being designed with the combination of retail and office and residential units versus the way the development is currently laid out, and if it were released. In other words, if there were a chance, and of course you've heard from Jeff and Kimco that the reason we're here is that there really just is not an opportunity to do that. But in its heyday, and if the property were released and remarketed with about 100,000 square feet, which is about 100,000 square feet of retail that exists, that amount of traffic is going to be roughly equal to the amount of traffic that will be generated by the new plant. So we'll have to prove that clearly to the county and to you here as well, and I'm going to have to prove that to Kimco. So we'll be tested along the way, first by our client, then by the county, and of course by the community as well. But we think that all in all, the retail development that exists today, if it were in full operation, will generate about the same amount of traffic as what is proposed. The other good thing is that with the residential, some of the traffic will be going in the opposite direction as it moves away from the site towards the Parkway or towards Harper's Farm. The existing intersections that are really key will end up being studied. The nearest critical intersections at Twin River and Harper's, and at the other end at Governor Warfield Parkway, the county is showing that they're currently operating at pretty good levels of service with relatively low amount of delay. This is what the county studies are currently showing. We've got to test them. When we get to that point, we'll be testing them, and if improvements need to be made, either at those locations or some of the other intersections along Twin Rivers Road, then that'll be our obligation to take care of those things. So we'll be studying the traffic impacts in detail as we get a little further down the road.
Thank you, Wes. We just want to move on now and talk a little bit about some of the massing of the architecture that we've studied thus far. Just a couple of last points, perhaps, on the site plan. So we're looking at about 80,000 square feet of retail space. It could go down a little bit, maybe it goes up a little. And about 200, 210, 215 residential units, and as shown in blue on this.
And that 80,000 is a combination of retail and office.
Correct, thank you. Yeah, retail office, which we sometimes call commercial. So, I just wanted to, we've developed two perspective renderings here that show some of the massing. And if standing approximately where the bank is, just about here, looking into the courtyard, we've developed this following sketch. And so this is, you're seeing the residential building on the right here. It's 4 floors of residential above a platform, which includes in this corner, hopefully a little restaurant. That restaurant would have outdoor seating, tables and chairs that spill out onto this new public area space that we're creating. The connection across the drive lane there to the existing courtyard, and you can see the large canopy of trees that exist there today. The existing Rouse Company Village Center buildings, office over retail, which we are looking to make minimal changes to. And then you have the pedestrian walkway that connects one all the way across to the other food store, retail stores that would be here. The materials that we think would be appropriate here are those that are in keeping with and are sympathetic to the original materials of wood, glass, stone, and brick. But I do think that these buildings should be of their time and should not try to look like 1960s style buildings, but should be buildings of this century. So that, and they are, again, just simply concept drawings. Let's see now. I've done it again. Can you advance that? Okay, there we go. So looking back now from the courtyard space at a slightly elevated perspective, we're looking at the bank building, which is simply a conceptual placeholder of a design to some extent, because we know that the design of this building is going to change, and probably depending on who the end user is, certainly. But these are the residential buildings as they would appear in terms of their size and bulk, mostly. But again, brick, stone, glass, metal. And then this is the new office over top of retail or food store. And we think this would be great if it was the type of food store where you go in and you get a sandwich and that type of thing, come outside and be able to eat on a larger sidewalk space that would serve as a great amenity to the office space that's on the second level there. This is the paving that goes across the parking lot to connect one side to the other. We see that as being, some type of textured concrete or stone or cobblestone, possibly, that would complement the whole walking environment. As Jeff said, these will be green buildings, LEED certified buildings, which we look forward to developing further. The main reason the design will change, I'm sure to some extent, is that we will be bringing in a residential developer that will be working with us within this general footprint with these buildings, and I'm sure they'll have some impact on it. As well as, I think the bank building will probably have some impact due to its end user, and quite frankly, we're just in a very conceptual stage here at the moment.
But the one thing we will do, since we are the master developer here, we will attempt and will try to control a design criteria that will pass along to the residential and any of the retailers that will be bringing in here. There's always a give and take on that level, what we can do, what we can't do, but knowing that it's going to be important that it looks like a cohesive center and not 5 different design buildings. We will be setting some criteria out there that everybody will have to be following.